Hey everyone, welcome back to another Safari LTD review. Today we're going to be taking a look at their newly released Edmontosaurus. This figure was one of my most anticipated figures in their new lineup, and I have to say this figure does not disappoint. Over the last few years, Safari has been going back and giving us updated versions of some older figures in their line and giving us updates of some of the Carnegie collection. This Edmontosaurus is an update to the old Safari LTD Edmontosaurus. You can see it is a vast improvement and it is a much bigger figure. I do love this little Edmontosaurus, but this one right here is just truly fantastic. Edmontosaurus is a very well-known dinosaur. It is known from a lot of almost complete specimens, and some of those specimens have extensive skin impressions on them, or what some people like to call dinosaur mummies. And another interesting footnote, Edmontosaurus was the first full skeletal dinosaur mount ever displayed in the United States, and that skeleton currently resides at the Yale Peabody Museum of Natural History. Edmontosaurus was the late Cretaceous hadrosaur that was known from the western part of the United States. There are two valid species, Edmontosaurus annectens and Edmontosaurus regalis. This model right here is clearly modeled after regalis, but we'll get into those differences between annectens and regalis when we get a little further into the review. This figure appears to be the largest in this new lineup from Safari. I'm not sure if the Sarcosuchus figure is bigger than this figure since I don't have the Sarcosuchus yet. So let's do a couple of quick measurements. This figure is just about 10.5 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the beak, and about 3 3/4 inches tall at the top of the back right here. Edmontosaurus is roughly between 30 and 39 feet long. So with those measurements, that'll put this model somewhere in that 135 to 145 scale range. There is evidence that Edmontosaurus got larger than 39 feet, that it could have been up to 49 feet, but those are probably like the extreme size measurements. Those are like adult animals that lived a long time. So that 39 feet is probably the average length this animal got. The pose on this figure is fairly simple. It's just the Edmontosaurus walking along on all fours with that right forelimb just raised up slightly like it's about to take a step forward. All in all, it is a nicely sculpted figure. Here it is from the other side. It's nothing too dynamic. It's not as, as dynamic as, say, the new Papo Giganotosaurus. I do like these nice standard walking poses. The coloration on this figure is also very nice. The main color is kind of like this rusty orange coloration along the body. And then when you look at the head right here, it almost has this peach colored wash going over it. And then that crest on top of his head is decked out in some really bright red, make it really pop. Then you have a lot of black coloration going down the neck and the back, going all the way down to the tip of the tail. You get some black spotting along the stomach right here and along the thighs. It continues down to the lower leg, and then when you get to the tail, you have this nice stripe pattern right here. And some paleontologists have guessed, by the skin impressions of Edmontosaurus, by the way the scales are shaped and arranged, that it most likely had a stripe pattern along the tail. So it's very cool that they decided to give this Edmontosaurus a stripe pattern along the tail. So let's zoom in and take a look at that gorgeous head sculpt on this Edmontosaurus. You can see this crest right here has a lot of nice fine scale detail on it. Now this is one of the differences between regalis and annectens. There was a specimen of Edmontosaurus regalis that was discovered to have a soft tissue impression, which finally showed that this crestless hadrosaur actually had a crest. So I think that is very cool. Even though we know a lot about Edmontosaurus, there's still so much we don't know about these animals, and it just totally changes the appearance when you discover soft tissue impression. So it's very cool that they updated this Edmontosaurus to have this newly discovered head crest. I think it was discovered in either 2014 or 2015. And then going to the eye right here, you can see it is done in orange with a black pupil. You get some more little black stripes along the face right here, and there's a lot of fine scale detail all over the face. The nostril is painted in black, and then looking at it from the front right here, you can see the beak is nicely sculpted, and then turning it over, you can see some nice scale detail along the neck. I got a little bit of sloppy paint right here on the bottom beak, but since I really am not going to display my figure upside down, that little paint mishap is not going to bother me at all. And then, the other thing with regalis and annectens, regalis had a shorter, more robust skull. If you look at the old Safari LTD Edmontosaurus. You can see this one has a longer lower skull. So I guess you can count this figure as Ectins. And obviously, like I said, this one is based off Regalis. So let's turn the figure over to the side for a second, and you can see that the ear canal is sculpted in on the side of the skull right here. And then going down to the neck, you can see a lot of different size scales sculpted along the neck and along the whole body right here. This figure has a lot of nice texture on it. It has a very tactile feel when you run your fingers over it. And then going down to the front limbs right here, you can see the scales get smaller as you go down. There's a nice little brown wash over here to bring out all that nice texturing. And then looking at the front limbs right here, almost looks like this dinosaur is wearing oven mitts. There was another Edmontosaurus discovery that was revealed a couple months ago. It's called the Dakota specimen, and it was discovered that Edmontosaurus had this giant hoof that covered these 4 digits. So it just goes to show you how fast our understanding of these animals changes. Now, you know, this Edmontosaurus is pretty scientifically accurate. Now, technically, because of that Dakota discovery, it's not, but you know, it takes a long time to produce and make these models. So it is no fault to Safari or Doug Watson, who did a absolutely beautiful job in this figure. But maybe in the future, when we get, you know, if Safari does it or another company does it, we'll see that front hoof incorporated into future Edmontosaurus models. Now going down to the legs, you can see the claws on the hind limbs are painted in a brownish color. You got more of that fine texturing along the leg right here. You got some nice powerful looking calf muscles and thigh muscles sculpted in there. And then turn the figure over, you can see even the stomach is very well textured. You got more of that, it's almost a cream color, then you have that brown wash to bring out all that scale detail. And even the bottom of the feet have scale detail on it, and I think that just looks beautiful. The figure is so nice to look at from every angle. And then going down over here, you can see the cloaca slit is sculpted in right here. It's not painted in black like on some other Safari figures, but it is definitely very noticeable. And then you can see more of that nice muscle definition on the hind legs right here. A lot of very small, fine scales sculpted in on the parts of this animal that would have a lot of movement. And then going down to the tail, you can see more all those nice scales sculpted in there. And even from the top, it is nice and robust looking. Very, very well done figure. This is a beautiful, beautiful looking Edmontosaurus figure. I am so happy with it. Alright, let's move on with some comparisons. Here it is with some of Safari's LTD's other Hadrosaur figures. Here it is with their Parasaurolophus, and this is their Griposaurus. Now, these figures aren't in scale with each other. It would have been nice if they were in scale, but it is nice to display them next to each other. You can see the difference between the different Hadrosaur species. And here is one more. This is the old Carnegie Collection Corythosaurus. And you know what? For an old figure, this Corythosaurus is still a really nice figure. We definitely need more Hadrosaurs from other companies. I feel like everyone just does Parasaurolophus. We definitely need, you know, Corythosaurus, Lambeosaurus. You know, I really wanted Saurolophus. You know, actually, you know, technically I did predict the Edmontosaurus to come out this year from Safari. I did, like, you know, my top 10, you know, wish want list for Safari video like a few months ago, and I really wanted Saurolophus, but I said most likely Safari is probably going to update their Edmontosaurus, so I did prove correct on that, so yay me. And here it is with the other new figures in the lineup. Here it is with the Pachycephalosaurus, which is a great looking figure, and here it is with the Deinonychus, and oh, I absolutely love this Deinonychus. I can't wait to do the review on this one. This has been what I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And here it is with Safari's excellent looking feathered T-Rex. You know, T-Rex probably never actually encountered Edmontosaurus regalis. Regalis, I think, was the older species. I think it existed 73 million years ago in Alberta, and Edmontosaurus Ectins was alive during the reign of T-Rex, which was 66 million years ago. But these two figures still do look excellent next to each other. So, final thoughts on this Edmontosaurus. I absolutely love this thing. This was one of my most highly anticipated figures from Safari this year, and it definitely lives up to it. It's a good size figure. It is beautifully detailed. It is nicely painted. I love, you know, that it has the updated soft tissue crest on it. I ended up picking this figure up directly from Safari. It retails for $27.99, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to order this figure directly from Safari yourself. I'll be getting the reviews up on the Deinonychus and Pachycephalosaurus probably within the next few days on the channel. So that would do it for the review, and remember, if you're liking the content in this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys for the next one.